Welcome to Sizzle Fantasy Sports, the channel with the most sizzling hot fantasy takes and analysis, presented by your host, Gavin.
Rodgers clean pocket, throws the middle to Yates, Devontae, touchdown, and a dagger!
How's it going, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Gavin, and today I have my final mock draft. It feels like I've done 100 of these, but I've had so much fun doing it. It's my final mock draft of the 2021 season, leading up to the big night on Thursday here with round one of the NFL draft finally arriving. You guys, I can't wait for the draft show. It's going to be a great night. I'm going to be with you guys all night long from start to finish, and we're going to have the draft guide giveaway. So those of you who are watching this video, I'm going to give you a little pointer, a little heads up to get a step ahead of the rest of the game here. In order to get access to that draft guide giveaway, you're going to need to go up to the top of your screen and check out that Instagram account you see there. Make sure you're following Sizzle Fantasy Sports on Instagram, and you'll be eligible to get yourself hooked up with a free 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide giveaway bundle. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. We'll see you in there with the first overall pick, and let's get started. One quick note before we get started today, make sure you guys have gone down and subscribed to the channel. I forgot to mention that as well. You'll need that for the draft guide giveaway, and turn that bell on so you guys are notified right away when we go live for the NFL draft. We're going to be with you, like I said, start to finish all night long. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait to interact with you guys, get your takes on the picks, and break down the whole night. So, with that being said, let's get right in to my final mock draft. The first overall pick, it's been set in stone. I have not changed it once. Neither myself or Eric, who will be joining me live on Thursday night, have differentiated away from this pick. It's Trevor Lawrence. He's the best quarterback in this football class, and he is the only reason that Urban Meyer would have been pulled out of retirement to come coach for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, he's a very, very great prospect. He's got all the intangibles. Obviously, he made those comments a couple weeks back to turn some heads, but I don't think it matters. The talent is there, the skill, the maturity, the poise, it's all there as well. Trevor Lawrence will be a successful quarterback in this draft class. Then at number 2, it's going to be Zach Wilson to the New York Jets out of BYU. I have my question marks about whether or not Zach Wilson will have a successful situation set in place for him with the New York franchise, the media, and all that stuff that's going to be thrown at him right away. He's going to have to come in and be a day one starter, guys. But this is the pick. It's virtually locked in. We've been talking about this one for quite some time as well. He's got a great arm talent. He's very skilled, very athletic. I think that he has the potential to be a very great player. I'm just hoping that New York can put the situation around him to help him have a successful run in New York with the Jets. Then at number 3, my final decision here, you guys, is Mac Jones out of Alabama to the San Francisco 49ers at the 3rd overall pick. It's not my favorite pick in the world, you guys. You know that I have talked, if you've been watching my mock drafts, endlessly about how I think he's got a capped ceiling and how I disagree when the landscape of the NFC West right now has so many great and talented players. You're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo, who's probably an above average quarterback as is. He's the 4th quarterback in that. He's the 4th best quarterback in that division. He's already at the bottom of the barrel when you've got Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Matthew Stafford in that division. I don't think this move makes any difference. I think Mac Jones, while he can come in and be pro ready and ready to win games now, I still don't think that changes from him being at best the 4th quarterback in that division. Nonetheless, though, Mac Jones is going to come in. I think he fits Kyle Shanahan's scheme nicely, and I think Shanahan knows that he can execute things to perfection with Mac Jones at the helm. Mac Jones has pro-ready arm talent. He's ready to make the right throws and the right decisions, and he won't be a loose cannon. They know that they can keep him reeled in here and know that he's a dependable face in the locker room and a great team leader. So, Mac Jones, he's my final take here at number 3. The Niners are reportedly narrowing down their choice between Mac Jones and Trey Lance at this number 3 spot. I'm a bit surprised that, Justin Fields has kind of fallen out of the picture here, but Mac Jones is where I will leave it all at here for this 3rd overall spot. At 4, the Falcons have been taking a lot of phone calls recently about this draft pick and potentially moving backwards, but the rumor is also that they're being particularly picky with the compensation they receive in return. So I've got them staying put at 4 here and selecting Kyle Pitts, the superstar tight end out of Florida, and maybe the best player at his individual position in this draft class. Kyle Pitts is going to add a whole nother dimension to this offense. And let's not forget the fact that over the last couple days here, Julio Jones has been involved in some trade discussions, And while the cap numbers have come out and they tell us that it doesn't make sense for the Falcons to move him prior to June 1st, it still gives us an idea that maybe they're looking for some new and younger talent inserted into this offense to try and revamp some youth into this franchise. Julio's still a great player. He's got years ahead of him, but Kyle Pitts is a clean slate. This guy is a young and dominant talent. I think Pitts has the making to be one of the best tight end prospects of all time. Kyle Pitts walks into Atlanta day one, and this guy is going to be a stud and give Matt Ryan and Arthur Smith a chance to have a really high production offense. Kyle Pitts at 4 to the Falcons here. I think it makes a lot of sense for both sides. Then at number 5, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals, who have reportedly also narrowed down their top 5 choice to 2 players, that being Penei Sewell and Jamar Chase. In my final mock draft here, I'm going to do what I think is right by Joe Burrow. And while I think he would love to have himself a dominant wide receiver that he played with in college and won a national championship with, Penei Sewell and investing in his long-term protection is the move here for the Bengals. I think that the wide receiver position is becoming more and more saturated, and there's more and more competent guys all over the board. Now, is Jamar Chase your average Joe, your guy that's going to come in and get you 60 catches for 650 yards and 5 touchdowns? No. The way we look at Jamar Chase is in a different light, in a different category. This guy's a stud and a very, very great prospect of talent. But Penei Sewell is a position at left tackle that is a lot harder to come by for that transcendent talent that we see only once every 5 or 10 years. So, Penei Sewell here, he's dominant in the run game. He can help Joe Burrow stay upright. This is the right move for Cincinnati, and I think that the Bengals would be very smart to go this way. However, I don't think that they can go necessarily completely wrong if they take Jamar Chase either. Speaking of Jamar Chase, at number 6 to the Miami Dolphins, I have them taking their long-term wide receiver 1 option, Jamar Chase, out of LSU. Jamar Chase, I just talked about him. He's a stud. This guy is going to give a heck of a lot of production to Tua, and a guy who frankly needs some long-term wide receiver help. Will Fuller's there on a 1-year deal, although he is facing some suspension time, so he's not going to be there right away. And after next season, if Will Fuller balls out, he's on a 1-year prove-it deal, so they might have to move off of him, although Tua does have a rookie contract, so they may have some more cap flexibility. Nonetheless, Jamar Chase here, he gives you 4 or 5 years of assured production at the wide receiver 1 position. This guy is your prototypical X-wide receiver. He's dominant off the ball, he's physical, and he beats up defensive backs. This guy can do it at all levels of the defense. Jamar Chase is the wide receiver 1 in this draft class. A quick note before we get into the Lions pick here at number 7. SFS merch is officially live on sizzlefantasy.com. The link is in the description, and you can see it at the bottom of your screen there. So open up a separate tab and go check that out. You guys, we've got a variety of things to choose from. We've got shirts, sweatshirts, crew necks. We've even got hats and phone cases. So go check us out, rep our merch, and we would love to have you guys wearing us with pride, especially as we get into fantasy season again here finally, and we've got that big draft show coming up. So rep the SFS brand. We'd love to have you guys join our community. And with that being said, the Lions here at number 7 select Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. I think this is a great pickup for the Lions, you guys. They've been talking all offseason and honestly for the past couple years now about how they want to implement a strong run game in Detroit. You got to have your actions speak louder than your words. You got to do something about it and take the initiative to really go out there and bolster that run game. You've got 2 solid backs right now in DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, but bolster that interior offensive line. You've got Taylor Decker manning the left side at the left tackle position. You could even slide Rashawn Slater over to the right tackle position, but where they really need help is on the interior, and Rashawn Slater is a guy that can play all 5 starting spots. This would be a great pickup here for the Lions. I think at number 7, it's the proper value, and Rashawn Slater could add a really nice dimension to that offense that is introducing a new quarterback as well in Jared Goff. Then at number 8, I've got a trade here. The New England Patriots moving up with the Carolina Panthers to the number 8 spot. The Pats reportedly, as of the time I'm recording this video, have been willing to discuss Stephon Gilmore in negotiations. So potentially a team like the Panthers that's very needy on the back end could be intrigued to pull the trigger here. Obviously, there'd be draft compensation involved in this trade as well, but the Pats have to move up this year. This is a very strong quarterback class. Bill Belichick is not a very young head coach, so I wouldn't say he has all the time in the world to build a new program from scratch. Go out there, trade up, and give up some draft capital to get Justin Fields. This is a guy that mirrors a lot of the things that Cam Newton did very well at the peak of his prime. Obviously, Cam is going to be back on a 1-year deal this season, so Go out there and get Justin Fields, let him mature and develop, and give him some time to learn the system behind Newton this year, and Justin Fields in the future after that can thrive. I think this is a really smart kid. To be honest, he's my number 2 quarterback in this draft class, and I think it would be a home run hit for the Pats here at number 8. I think that Bill Belichick could work wonders with this guy, and to be honest, I think all the knocks on Justin Fields are a bit out of place. So Justin Fields, go out there and get him. This is a franchise quarterback here at number 8, and you're looking really nice if you're the Pats here at 8. Then at number 9, the Denver Broncos. I've got them taking the last of the top 5 quarterbacks off the board. Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. This guy has a heck of a ceiling. He has a lot of really nice tools and a really nice skill set. I think the Broncos are just frankly fed up with Drew Lock right now. As much as I like him as a raw prospect and as a raw talent, he just hasn't been able to put it together, and he's had a lot of careless mistakes and a lot of really lax games that have looked really ugly on paper and to the eye test if you're watching Denver Bronco games. So go out here, get Trey Lance, let him kind of sit and develop behind Drew Lock for a little bit of time and at least mature, because the one knock on Trey Lance has been the lack of play time, the lack of a sample size that we have on him to really see if he's the real deal or not. I think that you ride things out with Drew Lock for a while longer, let Trey Lance sit and mature on the bench, and hopefully he can come in there and finally be that franchise savior for the Broncos that they've been looking at the quarterback position for since Peyton Manning departed after that Super Bowl. At number 10 here, I've got the Dallas Cowboys taking the first defensive back off the board, J.C. Horn, the physical corner out of South Carolina. This guy, I think, is probably the top corner in this draft class, in my opinion. He is one of the most physical corners in this draft class. He plays uptight press man coverage in your face, and the Dallas Cowboys' number 1 team need is in the secondary. Kyle Pitts, when asked who was the toughest defender that he was matched up against all last season, his answer was J.C. Horn. This guy gets in there, and he is not afraid. Kyle Pitts is a big man. He was not afraid to get in there, play physical with Pitts, and disrupt him at the catch point. So J.C. Horn's a guy who walks in day one and can help this unit out a lot. Pair him with Trayvon Diggs, and I think Dallas has a strong secondary foundation. Then at number 11, I've got the Giants taking Devontae Smith out of Alabama, who they reportedly love right now. I think Devontae Smith would really, really help this young football team, especially on the offensive end, find what they're trying to do well. Daniel Jones, make this year about figuring out whether or not he is the option and the answer for this franchise. You went out and got him Kenny Galladay. Saquon Barkley's coming back off injury. You've got Evan Engram under contract still. That is a lot of really solid talents, not even to mention Sterling Shepard or Darius Slayton out there. So give him just a slew of weapons to throw the football to this year, and I think you'll have an answer by week 17 next year, whether or not, probably even before that, whether or not Danny Dimes is the answer in New York. This seems like it makes a lot of sense, and Devontae Smith is a really great wide receiver to have to complement Galladay there in the Big Apple. Then at 12, I've got the Eagles taking Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith's teammate at Alabama, here with the 12th overall pick. I think Jalen Waddle's a really explosive guy. He runs the route tree to perfection for a guy with this much explosion, He's in and out of breaks without a loss of stride, and he is a guy that's going to really help Jalen Hurts and this football team out this season. Hurts needs a fighting chance. He doesn't have too many options right now. The Eagles are they're in a big hole right now for talent. They have a desperation to go out there and just get some bodies that are competent and able to catch passes and able to make explosive plays. Jalen Reagor last season kind of started to come on a bit late, and he made some flashy plays here and there, but he has not at all been the first-round investment that they made last season. Go out here, get Jalen Waddle, insert some more talent into that wide receiver core, and I think that the Eagles, like the Giants here with the last pick, will start to have an answer about the quarterback position midway or even all the way through next season. At number 13 here, I've got the Chargers taking Micah Parsons, the linebacker out of Penn State. I think Micah Parsons has the potential to be the best defensive player in this draft class. When we take a look at some of the off-ball linebackers and the impact they've made in the last few draft classes, it's astronomical. And while the Chargers did take Kenneth Murray, another off-ball linebacker in the draft last year, outside of him, their linebacking core is completely despair of talent. They need some guys that can come in there and surround Justin Herbert with some really great defensive pieces in order to allow him to hold leads once he goes out there, because Justin Herbert balled out last season, and he was a very, very impressive quarterback prospect. I think him and Joe Burrow have super bright futures, so go out there and help him on the defensive side of the ball. I think Micah Parsons can rush the quarterback. He can plug up those run holes and make a really big impact on this defense. The Chargers go linebacker at 13 with Parsons. At 14, the Vikings, they have a need for interior offensive linemen, or any offensive lineman, if you ask me, to protect Kirk Cousins and help out that run game. This offense is founded on running the football and the play-action pass, and right now Kirk Cousins does not have enough time to throw the football. He's got dudes in his lap after a count and a half. So the Vikings have to go out here and make an honest effort to protect him after they even cut a couple of the starters from last season. So Elijah Vera-Tucker, offensive lineman out of USC, a super dynamic piece who can be moved around the offensive line. I think he can come in there, start day one, and potentially fill different roles that are needed by the Vikings when players go down and such. Then at 15 here, the Panthers, they moved back with the Patriots for some draft capital, and like I said, potentially Stephon Gilmore. So that might even change this trade up a bit based off what we hear and the time between now and the actual NFL draft kickoff. So the Panthers, I have them mocked here, taking Patrick Surtain out of Alabama as he falls down here to the number 15 spot since the Cowboys selected J.C. Horn with the top cornerback pick off the board. The Panthers, like I said earlier, they have a great need at the cornerback position. I think Patrick Surtain might be one of the most immediate impact players at the position. He's been so well coached up in his time as a member of the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's got the best pro-ready system in the college football system with the Alabama, obviously. So Pat Surtain walks in day one. I think he helps out this defense a lot. And for a team that is looking to transition into a new young quarterback with Sam Darnold, I think it's fair, just like for Justin Herbert that we tried to do with the Chargers, get him some defensive pieces to try and give him some ease and some comfortability when they are able to get the lead. So Pat Surtain at 15 here to the Panthers. Then at 16, my number 3 corner off the board, who I actually had not too long ago as my top cornerback prospect, Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, heads to the Arizona Cardinals. They're another team that's extremely needy at the corner position. The one thing that has held Caleb Farley down the board so far has been the injury to his back that he sustained. That's a significant deal. Teams don't always love to draft players with injury risk, but I think the talent for Caleb Farley is worth the risk of investment. He can come in there and be a shutdown corner. I think he has the best technique of anyone in this draft class, and I think he has great size as well. So Caleb Farley at 16 for the Cardinals. Like I said, such a needy group at the cornerback position. I think this one makes a lot of sense for Arizona. Then at 17, this one's a really easy pick for me. The Raiders are in desperate need of pass rush. Their pass rushers from 2 draft classes ago, they kind of whiffed. I mean, they have Max Crosby and Cleveland Farrell, who have done decent jobs, but they haven't filled the role as dominant pass rushers that they are really looking for because they have embarrassing sack numbers over the past couple seasons. Go out here, get Kwity Paye out of Michigan. I think he's the most pro-ready edge rusher in this draft class with the most refined skill set. That's where the Raiders go at 17. Then at 18, the Miami Dolphins, I've got them taking with their second first-round pick, the versatile linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. This guy, he flies around the football field like a Jamal Adams-esque player. This guy's got the coverage ability and the ability and willingness to play in the run game and be physical with running backs and offensive linemen. JLK can come in here day one with Brian Flores and that defensive system and be one of those moving chess pieces that he likes to do. Flores has some of the most unique pre-snap movement by defensive players that I've seen in the NFL in quite a long time. So plug JOK into that system. I think it works out really well, and the Dolphins get themselves a highly versatile piece here at number 18. Then at 19, the Washington football team, who actually just went out and made a trade for a guard, Eric Flowers, go out and select another offensive lineman, Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. Darrisaw is kind of a polarizing player for a lot of people who are in the draft community right now. Some people love Darrisaw, some people hate him. I'm quite high on Christian Darrisaw. What I've seen from him is in pass pro, he is depleting edge rushers at the first point of contact. This dude is a mauler. He can open up holes in the run game. And I think for Washington, they don't really have a true franchise quarterback right now. So go out there and give the best protection you're able to whoever is under center. I think that makes a lot of sense for Washington and can help them out and try and make another run for that NFC East title in 2021. Then at number 20, I've got the Chicago Bears selecting Greg Newsome out of Northwestern. Another Northwestern player off the board here. Greg Newsome's a smart guy. Greg Newsome is a longer corner. He's a bit small and lean, but the Bears have a great need at cornerback. They could use a guy like Newsome who comes in here and he has some NFL-ready traits and he has some nice technique. I think the Bears could really use him to pair opposite of Jalen Johnson, who they took in the 3rd round last year and was a nice hit since he was able to stay clean of injuries, but they need more help on the back end. The Bears are one of the more interesting teams in the draft because it's kind of a cloudy area. We don't know really where they're going to go, but I think corner, besides the quarterback position, is one of the more pressing needs on the table. So maybe we see a trade up or trade down from the Bears on draft day. But in my final mock here, I have them going Greg Newsome and addressing the defensive back position. Then at 21, I've got Jalen Phillips, my next highest edge rusher out of Miami, heading to the Indianapolis Colts. These guys could use some more talent on that defensive front. Their defense was very, very sound last season, and they started off the season pretty hot, but they cooled off towards the end of the year. They weren't as formidable, So go out here, get a guy who plays hard in the run and pass game. He's a physical player. He's a spark plug. I really like him as a prospect. I think he can help the Colts out quite a bit here at 21. Then at 22, Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota heads to the Tennessee Titans. Rashad Bateman is one of the more complete wide receiver prospects in this draft class. He's not an athletic freak like we see some guys like a Jamar Chase or a Jalen Waddle be, but he is a really, really technical and a really savvy player. I think he fills the Corey Davis role and even to a better extent in Tennessee. They could use another player after they've lost quite a few significant offensive pieces in free agency this year. Notably, Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis are out the door now. So go and address wide receiver. You've got A.J. Brown, but he needs some help there, and hopefully that offense can stay up to par and keep pace with their what they've been doing the last 2 seasons. At 23, I've got the Jets taking Najee Harris, the first running back off the board out of Alabama. I've honestly stayed clear of the running back position in round 1 for the majority of my mock drafts this year, but I think Najee Harris makes a lot of sense for the Jets here. There has been some discussion about offensive linemen here at the 2nd pick or even going a defensive player, but my justification for taking Najee at the 23rd pick is that Zach Wilson needs someone to work with here, and I don't think it's going to work if you don't give him the proper weapons around him. Robert Saleh comes from the San Francisco 49ers coaching tree. They love to run running back committees in San Fran. So if he brings that tradition and that style of offense to New York with him, they're going to need some more backs because right now the guys they have are not good enough. He brought Tevin Coleman with him from San Fran, but Tevin Coleman can't stay healthy to save his life. So go out here and get the top running back in this draft class, up to perspective, honestly, between him and Travis Etienne. I would actually probably have Etienne slightly ahead of Najee Harris, but I think the fit is better for Harris here for the Jets. Nonetheless, get Zach Wilson some talent here. He does need protection, but he also needs guys to take some pressure off of his plate here as a day 1 starter for the Jets. So that's why I have Harris going to the Jets at 23. Then at 24, Pittsburgh, they need offensive line terribly bad. Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. He's my top graded offensive tackle remaining at this position on the board. I think they just need help somewhere. They've lost multiple starters and their offensive line was already poor last season. Catch back up, give Big Ben some protection, and try and salvage that run game. This is a big need for Pittsburgh at 24. Then at 25, Trayvon Merrick out of TCU. The playmaking safety goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. These guys are just a young football team. Urban Meyer is developing a program and a culture right now, and he's got to start off with some athletic and some versatile pieces. Trayvon Merrick's a guy that can own the back end of the defense and play as a single high safety, but also is willing to come up and make tackles in the run game. I think that a guy like Trayvon Merrick, as talented and as skilled as he is, can come out there and really help this defense grow and mature into their shoes. Then at 26, the Cleveland Browns. I've talked about this unit for quite some time now. The Browns might have one of the best rosters in the National Football League. I think Jamin Davis, a linebacker out of Kentucky, might be one of the players that is best suited to help out this team. Jamin Davis is athletic, he's versatile, he flies downfield, and I've seen him make some nice plays in coverage as well. And linebacker seems to be the one gap that the Browns are missing right now. They could really use a strong interior off-ball linebacker, and they could also use some guys on the outside linebacking positions as well. So Jamin Davis, I've had Zaven Collins going here a lot in my previous mocks as well. I just think linebacker is the one position that's really left up to needing some immediate help. Otherwise, the Browns have a fairly complete roster, and these guys have a really good football team. So I would expect big things from the Browns in 2021. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, your roster is headed in the right direction, and Jamin Davis, I think, can really help put things to the next level. Then at 27, I've got the Ravens, who would now have 2 first-round picks after they traded away Orlando Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs. I've got them taking Azeez Ojulari with their initial first-round pick that is actually theirs. Taking Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. The Ravens need pass rush. They've lost some pass rushers, some crucial pass rushers in that rotation in free agency the last 2 or 3 years, and they're starting to get a little bit depleted at that position. So go out here, take Azeez Ojulari, insert some more talent, and infuse some more guys into that system that can rush the passer and get after the quarterback, because that's ultimately one of the most important factors of the defensive side of the ball. I think Azeez is a guy who's fairly underrated. He's got a really nice bull rush, and he's a very athletic player as well. I think he helps out Baltimore's pass rush greatly and helps them get back on track on the defensive side of things. Then at 28, Zaven Collins is headed to the Saints here. Zaven Collins is a guy who I've talked about. He does everything that you want to see out of a linebacker on tape. He has played at some smaller level competition, but Zaven Collins has made big plays in all facets of the game. He's made incredible interception returns, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries. Zaven Collins has done it all. This guy is very athletic, very physical, and I've seen a lot of great things from him. I think he fits perfectly in with what the Saints defense does in terms of having a really strong run-stopping unit and having a very, very formidable front seven. So I think Zaven Collins, a versatile linebacker, another guy in this draft class who can come into the Saints organization and hopefully plug up some of those holes that they had to create to get back over the cap space last season. Then at 29, the Green Bay Packers, I've got them taking Christian Barmore, the defensive lineman out of Alabama. The Packers need help in the front seven. They need some help, particularly at the defensive end positions, and they also have somewhat of a hole at the inside linebacker position, although I do think they have some nice, young, developing talent there. Christian Barmore, though, he comes in here and gives Green Bay some versatility. They can either move Kenny Clark out to a defensive end position or keep him in at the nose spot and move Christian Barmore out to a defensive end position. Nonetheless, they need some more big guys to help this run game get plugged up, because the Packers were one of the worst teams against the run last season, and they were absolutely gashed multiple times. So going out here and addressing a big boy up front can really help the Packers out defensively and help them get into some more third and manageable situations where they don't have to rely on making a big stop on a 3rd and 1. I think that could be a critical move for Green Bay to address this draft class. Then at number 30, I've got the Buffalo Bills taking Jason Owa, the edge out of Penn State. Jason Owa is a freakishly athletic edge rusher. This guy did not have a sack last season, but he got a lot of pressures and he made some plays of his own. He has a very impressive highlight tape for the fact that he did not get to the quarterback. However, I think Jason Owa might be a little bit more of a project piece. I don't think he comes in day one and makes a huge impact. I do think he is a player that can be molded into a very effective pass rusher, and he could potentially have an extremely high ceiling. So a little bit of a risky investment here for the Bills at 30, but pass rush is a position of need, and they need to get after the quarterback in order to win some big games in the playoffs. This could turn out to be a very, very lucrative pick for the Bills at 30. Then at 31, the Ravens' second draft choice take a Wyatt Davis, offensive lineman out of Ohio State. The Ravens, as much as they need pass rush and defensive help, I think, and even wide receiver in this draft class, they also need interior offensive line. They've had some guys retire. They've lost some guys to free agency and whatnot. You need to bolster up this group because the core of this offense is the run game. Wyatt Davis, in my opinion, is the best guard in this draft class, the best pure guard in the draft class. I think you go out here, bolster that facet of your offense, and hopefully Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins will have some big running lanes to go behind next season. Then at number 32, this wouldn't be an official SFS mock draft without me finishing things off with a edge rusher for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Joe Tryon out of the University of Washington is the pick here. This is a versatile guy. I've compared his skill set somewhat to Shaq Barrett, who is kind of a do-it-all edge rusher. He's a very effective bull rusher, and he can even drop back in coverage at times as well. So I think Tampa Bay, who returns all 22 starters from last season, they go out here and make a luxury pick. It's neither here or there. they're going to pick a guy who's probably not going to start day one because they have that much flexibility with their roster. So Tampa Bay ends things off here. Joe Tryon out of Washington. They increase and bolster that already very scary pass rush. All right, you guys, that was my final mock draft of the 2021 NFL season. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel and turn that bell on so you guys never miss an episode or my draft live stream on Thursday night, where I'll be interacting with you guys for literally 5 or 6 hours straight as we are live and giving instant picks and analysis. And remember, you guys, if you're looking for that sneaky tip on how to get yourself ahead of the game in the draft guide giveaway, head over, follow us on our socials, particularly that Instagram account, Sizzle Fantasy Sports, and you guys will be one step closer to locking up your 2021 draft guide bundle absolutely free, just for coming by on the stream and hanging out with us that night. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you next time. Peace out.